University of the Air has been a terrific project for us in Northern Ireland to work with. For many reasons. It's heightened our profile as a research-intensive university. It's highlighted our profile of doing really high-quality research, and we were working within the theme of arts and humanities, which has a terrific resonance for the city of Belfast and a terrific resonance across Northern Ireland. Ours was a very competitive commission. We had 12 submissions from very high quality artists across Northern Ireland, and we spent a lot of time looking at them. They were all very different. Some of them were live performance, some were sound installations, and we actually chose Carrie Neely's work because we felt it captured a wider range of activity, but also there was an excitement about using two venues in Belfast city centre. The iconic Belfast City Hall, but also showcasing our building here in the city centre of Belfast. So we felt that we got a significant interplay between the Commission and what we want to achieve here in Northern Ireland as a vibrant university.
Luminous, Curious Journey as a title kind of started with a play on words. I started looking at words that had the OU within the title so that we could really pull that out and have focus on the Open University. And then once I had chosen what works were going where, we really went for the title with the OU in it, which suited each project. Luminous, which is the piece behind us, I wanted it to illuminate Belfast or the City Hall. Who's our lead artist, I commissioned because I had seen images of some of the work that he had done on theatre and stage. And when I had an idea at the start for the project, I really wanted large-scale projection and light work. But the fact that he had also used these air screens, which created a whole other dimension from what I could see visually, really put him in the lead whenever I was choosing an artist for this piece.
So I was given two poems, one by Sinead Morrissey and one by Maureen Boyle, both of which are two representations of Belfast. Sinead's is a very personal account about returning to the city after a period away, and really about trying to find her place in the city again. And then Maureen Boyle's piece, The Crown, which is a kind of historical reference to Belfast's industrial past and the kind of industry that took place here. Much like research, it was almost like a research question of how do I respond or visually interpret these texts.
But actually, when I saw it in the preview, I thought it was so beautiful. There's something really exciting because something happens to your words when someone else takes them and they add their imagination to it, you know. And there are lovely surprises in that, you know, for the writer, I think.
The work itself works as a triptych of 3 screens. So one screen being text, which is extracts from the poems, one being a portraiture, which includes visual textures of water, birds, lights, and the kind of energy of the city. And then another texture that kind of grounds the piece in the actual situ of City Hall. The actual construction of the frames themselves kind of make reference to that fabric of the city as well. So steel referencing shipbuilding, and the monofilament wire, fishing wire, referencing in some way the weaving that took place here. So both in the imagery and in the construction, the pieces are representing the fabric of the city and bringing them together into one artwork. Both poems actually, strangely, are kind of placed in this location at the heart of the city. So it makes a lot of sense that the actual artwork is placed here and allows the audience, the public, to engage with it directly. You'll see that the screens are arranged on different angles, so they are constantly changing depending on the position that you're standing in, depending on how the wind is, whether it's raining. So there's a lot of different environmental factors that affect the piece as much as what the audience brings to it as well.
Curious is really about searching and looking and investigating. It's based on the research of the OU within digital humanities over the last 50 years. So it really is a curiosity within the field of digital humanities. Journey uses 4 different artists, and from brief to installation they all had to go through their own journey in creating the piece with what they were given, whether it be a research piece, whether it be a poem, a piece of prose, or many pieces of writing from OU students. Deepa Montclair I chose because she had a very personal connection with the OU. Her father studying at the OU and how well that he did and the opportunities that it gave her family. So she felt very, very close to the project.
I had 2 research themes to interpret. The first research theme was memoir by John Taylor, and it was based on his experiences of working in a neon shop off the Shankill Road. And for me that resonated very strongly because I'm doing a lot of my artwork in light at the minute, and in particular neon. So I wanted to reflect his personal experiences by using his words, because there's artistry in his memoir and his words, but also incorporating my own sort of signature within the piece by using a bit of neon, which is the red. The research pieces that I've responded to, John Taylor's and Beyond the Frame, which is a research theme which looks at the experience of Asians coming to the UK. Their experience is about everyday people, and I think once the story is about somebody that's normal, that's walking around the street, people can identify with that. And because of where the artworks are, they're on the street. The art has been brought to people, and it can be difficult for some people to go into galleries sometimes, and I think that's what's wonderful about these pieces, that in people's everyday commute to and from work or whilst they're out on lunch, they're going to see nearly 10 pieces of original artwork, which I think is wonderful. And also there's a visual element in the second piece that I did. I used butterflies as a metaphor, but there's text there which is from my father's own experiences of when he was 12 years old. And he had to leave the wrong side of Punjab in Pakistan because of partition. So people can read those, and maybe identify with the conflict here.
Christine, her father also studied at the OU, and all this came to light whenever I had put a call out and was looking at all the different artists to commission. And her father studied mathematics, and she really used a play on words, and it kind of comes out in her work.
Right from the beginning of the project, I was inspired by Colin Davidson's wonderful portraits of the Irish poets. So I was really delighted when he agreed to contribute a drawing of Michael Longley, which we time-lapsed for the City Hall launch and for social media, adding a whole other dimension to the project.
With Lee, he had initially come up with the idea of the murmuration of birds filled with poetry, which I just absolutely loved from day one.
And I start to think about how that poetry affects people, and it's a flight of thought, and it is a very literal way of looking at the subject. But I start to think about birds and the commemoration of birds and how that flight of thought takes shape. And there's a thing called a murmuration of birds where you get starlings that will create these amazing forms in the sky. So what I started to do was reproduce the same origami bird over and over again, but in different scales, and then put it into the space in the window. And from the initial idea of the content from the book, taking shape and form into a physical space. And one of the sculptures I put in place in the Open University building was called Read Me. And read being how you would read a subject in university, and me reflecting back onto the person. The rest of the sculpture is made from red books, referring back to the big red book produced by the Open University, which is full of some wonderful poetry and text written by the students.
I think what Carrie achieved in her commission was really getting a strong feel for how the research of the Open University interweaved with the very rich tapestry that we have in Belfast and Northern Ireland of the written word. So we've used some very famous poets, we've used people like Michael Longley, we've used Kieran Carson, and we've also involved Belfast's new poet laureate, Sinead Morrissey. So we've got their works being reinterpreted by graphic artists, by digital artists, and also what I've really valued has been the way that Carrie has integrated the work of our students and the work of some of our lecturing staff as well. This piece of work that we've been involved with over the last number of months has also inspired Belfast City Council to run a fringe festival. In addition to the visual displays at Belfast City Hall and at the Open University building, there are live readings at the Ulster Hall, and again that's a very iconic and very highly regarded arts venue in the city. So we're really delighted that the city has bought into what we're doing as well.
Well, we were delighted here at the Ulster Hall to be part of the University of the Air programme, and we've designed a programme of arts events which are looking at the idea of local literature just through the lens of other art forms. We have a really wide scope of different events covering photography, music, even dance events coinciding with literature, and we're also trying to engage as many different people. So you can see us setting up for a children's event here and all sorts of different things, and I just feel this really buys into the University of the Air's idea that Open University is for everyone. This is a very eclectic programme, and we're looking to engage with as many Belfast people as possible this week.
I think the exhibition obviously has attracted the attention of the research community throughout Northern Ireland. So we've had great engagement with the other two universities in Northern Ireland. We've had great engagement with the politicians, both at Belfast City Hall and at the Northern Ireland Assembly. So they're really excited by what the Open University is bringing to the city.
You know, it's a delight to me to be involved in anything at all associated with the Open University. But I also want to say thank you to the artists and the ambition of the artists, because if anybody's going to save Belfast from itself, it's going to be our artists.
I think it's putting the Open University right at the heart of the communities that it serves by demonstrating something that people maybe don't realise we do really well, and that's research.